Rolling. Okay, so thank you to James Josiah.
Yep.
For coming round. This is a follow-up to the very angry response that we had from a Star Wars fan.
Yes, disappointing.
So uploaded a video a week or two ago onto YouTube, all about the Last Jedi, and actually James had seen the film and came back with a relatively kind of warm response.
Aww.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it was the best Star Wars film out there. I'd say it was certainly better than Force Awakens. Not as good as Rogue One. I think Rogue One is probably my favourite film out of them all at the moment. It's certainly the one I've watched the most recently, anyway. So, but no, I enjoyed Last Jedi. I thought it was a very good take and a new direction for Star Wars. What annoyed me about Force Awakens was it felt like a fan fiction. It was a lot of fan service. It was pretty much just a series of moments that they thought we wanted to see.
That's a really interesting take. I haven't actually heard someone describe it like that. I think that's quite a nice way to sum it up, and I suppose in some ways I enjoyed it because it was that.
Oh, it was enjoyable, and it's a very good film. But I think it could have been more.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the characters were wasted in that. I know they were introduced.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a lot of building. It didn't really seem to go anywhere, for me anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas Last Jedi did. Last Jedi moved on, it introduced new stuff and pushed the story forward. There were some things that bugged me, but they were little gripes. I think the biggest thing that really annoyed me was Leia not dying. and that sounds wrong.
Yeah.
You know, Carrie Fisher, God rest her soul. And when we are going full spoilers here.
Absolutely.
I thought she should have died on the bridge with Akbar.
Actually, that would have been a good way for her to die as well, because obviously then that makes the character of Kylo Ren maybe a little more mixed up and angsty, perhaps because he killed his mum.
I think it would have been a fitting death for her, and it would have worked for the Resistance. For I can never remember Laura Dern's character's name.
Purple-haired lady.
Purple-haired.
That's all we know.
Purple-haired lady.
That seems to be the general.
But it would have worked for the Resistance for purple-haired lady just to come in and take over from there, because
that makes sense.
how the hierarchy would work.
Yeah.
But then she was floating around in space and came back like Guardians of the Galaxy seems to like doing.
Well, how did you feel about Leia's sudden acquisition of Force, or you know?
Well, that was hinted at. I mean, it was hinted at in Jedi, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then they hinted at it again in Force Awakens. But she seems to have done a lot of work between there and then.
Yeah. And I suppose this is happening just after Force Awakens.
Well, yeah, because they back up. They're back to back, aren't they? They're like Rogue One and New Hope. They butt up completely. So there's no gap between them. But yeah, she seemed to be very good at the Force all of a sudden.
Absolutely.
And then when she didn't die, I did spend most of the film going, well, she's going to die in a minute then. And then when they were on the transporter again, well, that's going to blow up then. But then, no, because C-3PO's on there. I'm not surprised if C-3PO died, I wouldn't be sad. But then she didn't die. And then the credits rolled, I was like, oh, well, okay. Because they've already stated she's not in the next film.
P.S.
Yeah. So that's an off-screen death, and she kind of deserves more than that.
Yeah, I think so. It's a bit like, is it Hot Tub Time Machine, where there's the guy with one arm, and you spend the whole of the movie going, right, when's his arm going to come off, you know? And I think maybe it was a bit like that. And how did you feel about the treatment of Luke in this film?
I kind of dug Grumpy Luke.
Really?
Yeah. It follows the apparent Jedi tradition of going away and being on your own for a long time.
Yeah.
Yoda did it. Ben did it.
Yeah.
But I'd say I like that he was that broken by what had gone on.
So he was, you know, of course you're going to start, you know, I'm doing the hand gestures, but you know,
drinking. Was it blue milk or green milk?
Green milk.
Green
milk.
milk.
That was a bit weird. That's an odd shot.
It was. I was like this. Oh, painful.
It was a real kind of comedy moment that really jarred with the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a lot of comedy in it. I'd say a lot of it was light relief because it was quite relentless and quite dark in places. But yeah, the Luke drinking the freshly milk of whatever that creature was, I don't know, like a sea cow. That was odd.
Yeah. I think for me that. I mean, the previous films, a lot of them had, you know, moments of comedy, and I think that's, you know, you get to know the characters through some of that, but it just seemed like it was comedy for comedy's sake, in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was probably too much of it.
Yeah.
I mean, light relief is all well and good because Yoda, when Yoda's first introduced, he is quite funny.
Yeah.
There's shenanigans going on, but there just seems to be more and more and more.
Yeah. Like the that little leprechaun thing feeding coins into BB-8. It just, I don't know. It just seemed like
Didn't need to be.
Yeah,
that.
it was too much.
Especially when
Yeah.
it's out there that like they've cut the best part of an hour from it, and I would be interested to see the longer take. But then when you look at the parts like that are left in, you're like, well, what did they count as filler then? Yeah.
I know. Jawa wet t-shirt competition, you know.
More Twi'leks as well. Everything needs.
Yeah. And what about, I know like other fans have said this as well, the casino planet, how did you feel about that subplot? And
So speaking as a writer, which sounds hideously pretentious, it all hinged around a very unlikely coincidence. They were after this one fella, and why didn't Maz give him a name, not rather than, oh, he's going to be wearing a badge? Then show you this massive, bustling place to find one person. But what I liked about the casino was the opening shot referenced a 1920s French silent film called Wings.
Okay, cool.
And I thought that was a really cool little homage.
Yeah.
That's just because I'm a nerd. But apart from that, it didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah.
It was, okay, you freed some horses. Righto. But it gave us Benicio del Toro, who is always brilliant at everything. But I think he was kind of wasted in this.
Yeah.
And his stutter annoyed me. Because it seemed to come and go as to when he, oh no, I've got a stutter. But yeah, I think it could have done been shorter.
Yeah, it did feel very long, I think.
And if they'd landed somewhere properly, then it wouldn't have worked out. Rather than just abandoning on the beach.
Yeah, it seemed like they were in trouble for some bad parking.
Yeah, put a sticker on the window and away you go.
Yeah, exactly. Pay as you go machine.
Yeah.
So it does seem, I don't know whether you found this with, say, friends who've watched the film, but it seems like people who liked The Force Awakens didn't necessarily like Last Jedi, and people who liked Last Jedi didn't necessarily like Force Awakens. Do you think it's as simple as that, or?
No, I think it could well be.
Yeah.
And I think that goes back to the fan service. I think Force Awakens was the Star Wars film that fans would have made.
Yeah.
Whereas Last Jedi, it really much isn't. I mean, it's got all the nods and winks to Star Wars, and it's very much part of the lore.
Yeah.
But it's just something a bit different.
Yeah.
And fundamentally, people don't really like change.
I don't, it's true. I've had the same haircut since 1985. It's a good look. I was going to ask you something else then. So, do you think Rian Johnson was a good choice? I mean, he seems like he hasn't got like a really amazing, CV really.
See, I disagree with you there.
Yeah.
He did Looper, which is a fantastic film. And then when you look at the 3 episodes he did on Breaking Bad, 2 of them are generally regarded as the best episodes of the entire series. He did The Fly, which is the greatest bottle episode of any series ever.
Yeah.
And then he did Ozymandias, which is where Walt's downfall kicks in. I don't know if you've watched Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
Ozymandias is a tremendous episode, and he directed that. So I think he was a good choice. I think he was a brave choice.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose what I mean is maybe it was kind of unfair of me to say he hasn't got a great CV. Just that he hasn't got, say, with like JJ, he's got Star Trek, so he'd already sort of handled something that's part of a larger franchise, something that's quite big.
Yeah.
You know, there's maybe it deserves some kind of reverential treatment. I don't know.
But the previous films weren't treated like that, really, were they?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
but no, I thought it was a good shot. I thought it was beautifully shot all the way through.
Yeah.
I liked that he used what seemed to be more real scenery than CGI, because that's what bogged the prequels down.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't mention the prequels.
It's just that whole real versus CGI thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to mention to Marie and about the first, you know, whether you call them the first three or I don't know, but you know, the ones that happened first in real
It's
life.
very confusing. In real life.
Is it well, I'm sure one of them had actual Muppets in, but it's all to do with the technology, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh yeah, you know. But then when sort of later on, when it just when people use too much CGI, it just becomes really obvious, and you've just got stuff moving around on the screen and explosions, and you can't keep up, and so much of the CGI, it still doesn't quite look real.
No.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of the problems with the reissues of the original trilogy.
Oh,
is when he went back and tinkered and tinkered and tinkered. And for me, he ruined the end of Jedi for me. The end of Jedi for me will always be the Ewoks singing and drumming on stormtroopers' heads. That's it for me.
That's a good party.
Yeah, but no, what more do you want?
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm not a fan of the CGI when it's overused. It's got its place.
Yeah.
But no, and it felt real. And I like that. That took me back to being a kid.
Yeah.
It looked like somewhere you could go. You could visit those places.
Yeah.
Okay, camera cut out there, so we're starting again. And I can't remember exactly where we were. But I was going to mention something, because you mentioned bottle episode earlier.
Yeah.
And I know that'll send a few people to Wikipedia. We watched Community, so we know what... Have you watched Community?
Yeah.
We know what a bottle episode is. I don't know if you want to if you wouldn't mind elaborating on that.
Yeah, a bottle episode is an episode of a series that doesn't tend to leave one set and involves very few characters. In Breaking Bad, it was a good way to expose Walt's obsession, because they were in the new lab that Gus had built and wanted to get rid of the contamination of the fly. And all the way through, that's all he wanted to do was kill the fly. And that's it. That's the entire plot for that episode. And it sounds awful, but it's very cleverly shot. It's very cleverly written. I mean, Star Trek had a lot of bottle episodes. I don't know, guys, I'm not a Trekkie, but I think that's where the phrase came from.
Right.
So,
Is it a ship in a bottle?
could well be.
I think it might be.
Ah, nice.
That does ring a bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Sorry, I've taken this completely off the start and ruined the flow,
No.
but I just thought it was
But are you excited and hopeful for the next episode, or like the Han movie as well?
I don't know how I feel about the Han movie, because they seem to be chopping and changing a lot of people in and out of it. I'm very excited for the next episode, because I have no idea what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I mean, the Resistance has been completely decimated to the point that they can all fit on the Millennium Falcon. And we all had that toy as a kid. It isn't that big.
No.
But and there's petitions out there to remove the Last Jedi from the canon. People are that angry about it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm going back to the fan service again. If you can watch one film and then guess exactly what's going to happen in the next one, that's not going to be a good film.
Yeah.
It's going to be boring. Oh, I wanted that to happen. Oh, that's happened.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that now. But for episode 9, I have no idea what's going to happen next.
Yeah, definitely. God knows who's going to be milking what,
Yeah.
drinking what. You know, we just don't know.
More milk. Is what we
Yeah,
need.
that's it. Yeah, if I've got a request, more animals to milk.
Actually, on the subject, because I was trying to remember all the comedy moments. So obviously there was the milk. Then he kind of jumps on a thing and spears a fish.
Yeah.
Then there was another one of what looked like ships landing, and I was looking at the ship thinking that looks like an iron, and it was
Was it an iron?
Yeah. So I thought I actually enjoyed that. I thought that was funny.
The iron bit really made me giggle. Like, at least we know why they always look so sharp.
There we go. A reveal. So
Yeah.
everyone was thinking, right, let's find out who Rey's parents are, when actually the real question was, how do they get their, you know, crisp uniforms?
Rey's parents. What do you think?
I kind of like that she was a nobody, and that depends. That's going to depend whether Kylo's telling the truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
But I think again, it would have been a massive coincidence that there was another Skywalker. I did go in thinking that Kylo and Rey were going to be brother and sister.
Yes.
Because in the expanded universe, there's the whole Leia and Han have twins,
Yeah.
and then Luke trains them. So I thought that's the path they were going to take. I can't remember their names. I should have looked that up, and that's going to bug me now. But it's been
And Leia have twins.
Yeah, Luke and Leia have
Do your
twins,
research.
and Luke trains them. We're talking early to mid 90s. These books were written, and it's still buried away there in the back of my brain somewhere.
So I'm now googling Luke Skywalker twin, and oh no, it's not going to tell us. So I'm now on Luke Skywalker's Wikipedia, which is like, maybe it's in there, but it's probably focusing more on the films, is it? I don't know.
May well do.
I could read out this whole section, but we'll come back to it. We can
We'll
put it in
revisit
there.
that.
Yeah.
But talking about Wikipedia, I've spent the last 2 days on a Wikipedia for the Bill, classic police series.
No, really?
Because she wasn't even really an extra. There was a background character in The Last Jedi, and I was like, she was on the Bill,
Wow.
and she wasn't. And it annoyed me, that much that I had to look at every single female character of the Bill to try and find her, and then she wasn't.
Really?
Yeah, but she was like purple-haired lady's second in command, really big nose.
I don't remember her,
Oh, yeah, I think
Yeah.
I remember who you mean.
and she wasn't in the bill.
She wasn't in the Bill. I thought she was, and I was wrong. I'm man enough to admit I was wrong. I wasted a lot of my time finding out I was wrong, which was disappointing. But
revisiting lovely Bill
The
memories.
Bill,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's some good theme music. So,
I know, I was thinking that.
Yeah.
But back to Star Wars.
Yeah.
What I think is going to happen is I think Rey and Kylo are going to switch roles.
Ooh.
Kylo is like a teenage goth. He wants to be bad, he wants to be evil. It's like the first time he's seen The Crow. He's going eyeliner, and oh no, I'm bad, I'm goth. And he's struggling. Whereas Rey fundamentally wants to be good, but she's got a lot of anger in her.
Oh yeah.
And when she gets angry, she uses the same sort of vernacular and venom that the ginger dude, Hux.
Yes.
I was going to say Drax, but that's Moonraker.
Same thing. Yeah.
Snazzy uniforms.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, she uses the same level of anger and spite that he uses. And there was the bit when Luke was teaching about the balance of the Force, and she went straight to the dark side.
Yeah.
I think that's where she's drawn.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that could.
Hadn't crossed my mind at all. Really good twist that would be.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Cool. And what do you think about the Porgs? That's probably one of the most interesting questions.
Right, we'll come at this from a different angle. I love penguins.
Ah, okay.
Penguins are the coolest animal that has ever existed. So I dug them, I thought they were ace.
Yeah.
And then when you find out why they existed, makes it even cooler. Because where they filmed Arc 2. I can't remember, I didn't know the name of the real place. But it's a puffin colony,
Yes.
and they weren't allowed to move the puffins on because they're a protected species. So they just CGI porgs over them.
No.
Yeah,
Oh my god, this man's done his research.
I'm a nerd. That's what I do. But I liked that they were just existing in the background. They weren't like the Ewoks. They weren't there to drive the plot forward. They were just there. They were just chilling. But yeah, I dug the porgs. Whereas the crystal Pokemon Foxy things, I wasn't so keen on them. They were used as a bit of a get out.
Yes.
Yeah.
They looked pretty on the trailer. I think when I was like, oh, those are kind of interesting. And then I think by that point, because we had like a row of kids in front of us who commentated the whole film.
Oh, that was a disaster.
So I think I was already like this. And then we had some other people who came in late, and some kid was going, no, it's not a kid's film. Get out. Be gone, foul beast.
This is why we waited. I think we waited 2 weeks to see it, and then went first thing in the middle of the week. So it was pretty much just us.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
The only problem there is avoiding spoilers and reviews.
Of course, yeah. And I think, I want to love it because I love these films, and they do mean a lot to me. They're things that I grew up with, interspersed with DFS adverts during the Christmas time, during the 80s, So I do want to look at it again and just see, can I warm to this? And hopefully I can. Give it a chance.
What was the first one you saw?
You know what, I don't know, because I was born in 81, so...
I was 79, so I missed New Hope, too young for Empire.
Yeah.
So Jedi has always been my Star Wars film.
Yeah, I'd probably say for the longest time through my childhood, that was probably my favourite film. And then as I've got older, I think Empire...
Okay, we're back in business. It's rolling.
So where were we?
Well, I was going to say, so we're about 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of stuff, and I should have made some really great notes so I could now read through it and say, well, we got to here. I was going to suggest maybe we do like another sort of 5 or 10 minute segment, and sort of within that we'll wrap it up, if that's okay with you.
That's cool by me.
I think actually you were saying about where you felt the next film might go, and you had like a really interesting idea about
twist.
Rey and Kylo swapping. Was that
the last thing
you said? I think
it was that, and then it was we'll pick it up from there.
So I think Rey is dark. She's very angry, and given if Kylo is telling the truth about her parents, that would make sense. She's been sold off and then fed herself a lie to make things feel better. But I do think that Kylo is inherently good at heart, and he struggles to be evil, even though he thinks that's what he wants. It'd be interesting to see where he goes from here without Snoke, because I think he was doing a lot of what he did because Snoke told him to. So now there's no Snoke, and he is the supreme leader. I don't know where they're going to go with that.
You've just reminded me, big debate. Do you have any theories on who Snoke is?
I don't. I would have liked to have found out. But again, there's a lot of people calling out for like a full backstory for him. We know exactly about as much as Snoke as we do the Emperor at the point of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
We only know more about him because of the prequels.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to explore that. Given the scarring, it's going to be, I think it would be someone caught up in Order 66 with the Jedi cult, but I wouldn't know as to who. Because my first thought was it was the Emperor come back, but obviously he didn't get the saber to the head.
Yeah, the scarring being his head looks like it's kind of been split in half at some point. And it's all over the place.
But no, it would be interesting to see where they do go with that.
Yeah.
Are you sort of happy the franchise been in Disney's hands, or do you feel that it's going to get to a point where they're just going to milk this? See, we're going back to milking again.
All about the nipples.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I think Disney have obviously got money to recoup, but I think they'll let it run its natural course.
Yeah.
I think the biggest decider there is going to be the Han film. But I think that will sink or swim.
Yeah.
It's like I'd be happy if they did more stories like Rogue One.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Honestly, it's my favourite one out of all of them. It's utterly perfect. But I don't know if Han needs a backstory.
Yeah, actually, I think there are other characters that it would have been more interesting to follow, perhaps.
I'd like to have seen a Kenobi film. I think he got a bad deal out of everything.
Yeah.
But Qui-Gon would have been a good film. Because I think the prequels got bogged down in politics.
Yeah.
We were always sold this myth that the Jedi were these noble warriors fighting evil, but the Jedi Council are just politicians, and that's kind of boring, especially when you Phantom Menace is about taxation. It's not a good film. Better than Attack of the Clones, which is god awful.
Yeah.
But no. So yeah, I don't know where they're going to go, and I like that.
Yeah. I actually think maybe some of the spin-offs will be better than what follows in the the order. But yeah, we shall see.
Okay. I think that feels like a really good place to leave it.
Yeah.
So, were there any other areas that you were particularly keen to cover, James? Because you've got extensive notes.
I have got extensive notes.
Phasma. Yeah.
I think Phasma's a very interesting character, but she is wasted to the same level as Boba Fett was.
Yeah.
They've introduced this kick-ass looking character and then gone, oh, we better kill him off. And they've done it twice with Phasma now. Yeah. But yeah. I'd like to see more Phasma. I don't see how or if they could bring her back for the next one. I think it's very interesting they've introduced female stormtroopers as well. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is. I seem to have a bit of a concentration span problem. I couldn't really remember what had happened to her in the last film, but everybody's saying she basically got killed. Then she's back. Now she's basically been killed. So if she comes back again, it's like, what is she? Has she got 9 lives? Or
She's a cat.
Yeah, exactly. Take the helmet off.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny actually, because I was saying to Marie in the last video how much I enjoyed the film, because I did, and I actually thought so my first Star Wars film was Empire Strikes Back, the first one that I went to see at the pictures. I went to see that when it came out, and I remember thinking it was pretty good. But this, I really had tingles. The epic bits I thought were so epic. They were just incredible. Yeah,
I think the final sequence was tremendous. And I liked the way the red dust was kicked up. I thought that was very cinematic.
Yeah.
Another little thing that annoyed me was the soldier in the trip going, oh, salt. That didn't need to happen.
It's like saying, it's not Hoth, everyone. It's not Hoth.
No, it's not snow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But another thing that it didn't annoy me in the film, it annoyed me that I didn't notice it, but when Kylo and Luke are fighting, Kylo is kicking up all the dust and Luke isn't. And Luke isn't because he's not really there.
Okay.
I should have noticed that and I didn't.
Okay. There were a few clues. I did notice that that he looked a bit younger.
He did look younger and he was very Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he was back in black.
Because actually one of the things we've seen we watch so many videos on YouTube now of people slagging it off. Why did he have to be force projection and all this stuff? And there are some good reasons why. And for me it was like, if he was really there and they'd fired those lasers at him for however long they did, that would have killed him.
Yeah.
It didn't kill him because he wasn't there.
Yeah. If he survived that would have been a stretch too far.
Yeah.
But the force projection, that was something new that's been added, and I'm friends with a lot of fantasy writers, and they are very meticulous about building their worlds, and they do it layer by layer by layer, and they introduce things gradually and gradually and gradually. And a lot of them are very angry with how much new force stuff was just thrown in willy-nilly.
Yeah.
And I can understand that. And it did feel like this is the same trick that Loki has pulled in every single film he's been in. I'm an illusion, I'm not really there. But it was kind of cool at the same time. And I like that it brought Luke back to the Force and back to good. And then he died, and I think he died because he found peace. And that was a nice ending for him.
Yeah. I thought that was alright. And again, I actually thought that was pretty epic.
Yeah. Didn't see it coming.
Mm.
And I always like when I don't see something coming.
Yeah.
Great. Well, no, I'm sorry, I did this earlier. Are there any other things?
No, I think that's me. I think I've got it all off my chest.
Brilliant. Well, thanks ever so much for coming over. This is great. Thank you.
Yeah.